Welcome to On Second Thought. I'm John Price, and I'm here with our pastor, Jay Hackett, where every week we take a deeper dive into life at Peachtree Corners Baptist Church. Whether we're talking about the latest sermon, upcoming events, or just whatever's on Jay's mind, this is your insider look at our church, our staff, and what makes PCBC your church on the corner. So join our conversation as we help you find community, purpose, and growth. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to On Second Thought. This is episode 31 and 31. And it is a special episode. We've got Jonathan Moseley with us today, and Jonathan preached Sunday. This is Missions Month. We're going to kind of get into some of that. I'm coming back from a week of vacation and kind of a work vacation. Went down to Jensen Beach, Florida. My brother's a pastor down there, and as all pastors do, he has a condo on the beach. Nice. And so
wow.
I'm sure I want to hear about y'all's condos on the beach.
I might disagree a little bit on the all pastors have condos.
But he and his wife were very kind to share that, let us be down there for a week to rest and actually do a little bit of writing. April and I were working on a project, and there's some projects we've been working on, and so got to do a little bit of that. Got to eat some seafood and enjoy some.
How was the weather?
It was good. We folks there thanked us for bringing the cool weather with us, so it was nice. April took long walks, and I enjoyed sitting down and resting and not doing that. So I enjoyed half off. I lived like an 80-year-old and had dinner at like 4:30 in the afternoon because that's when the oysters are half price. So,
yes.
Anyways.
You're an oyster eater? No.
I'm allergic to shellfish.
Are you really?
Yeah. Being in Boston,
being in Boston and being allergic to shellfish.
That is rough.
Man.
No clam chowder, no lobster.
So when you sacrificed to move up there and plant a church, it was really a sacrifice.
I left it all. Yeah.
That's impressive.
He's colorblind. So
that's what I heard.
It's a sacrifice. Yeah. I've left it all behind as well. I don't see color at all. Yeah. My brother-in-law used to always say, hey, you save a whole lot of money in color TVs. You just buy black and white. And I was like, I see color. I just don't know what color it is. There's a difference there, man. There's a difference.
All right, we have gone off the path immediately. So, Jonathan, coming from here, been a pastor in Boston. Tell us about Kings Hill Church and kind of what you're...
Yeah, so we started September of 18, so we're 7 years old, a little over, and we're in a neighborhood called Mission Hill. It's very small. It's about 3/4 of a square mile, but there's 12 universities within a mile radius. And so even though it's very small, you pass through it to get to a lot of the other neighborhoods in the city. So we say that we're really a center city church, but our hope and our heart is to plant neighborhood churches. And so we have 2 services. We meet at the Hilton Back Bay conference room. And something that I have really just cherished about our church is that it's not we definitely have a spectrum of ages, but the city's pretty young. And so really for us, it's been multi-ethnicities. We probably have around 18 or 19 countries represented. It's just Boston's a melting pot of culture. Yeah. And so that part has been a lot of fun to pastor a church where the nations are there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic. And not a lot of gospel influence in that area currently. I know in the past, but
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yes, I mean, so back in the day, you had the Great Awakenings that started in New England and had a worldwide impact. But now, some say it's 3% Christian, which is hard to believe. If you have 100 people in a room, 3 of those would identify as believers. And so, there's no. I was just talking to Wallace yesterday. I think it was Wallace or Kyle Slay, but. There's no social advantages.
I think we're going to have a 10% bump in viewers because their names were mentioned.
Come on. Who else have you talked to this week? yeah. Name drop here.
But you really don't have nominal Christianity because there are no social advantages to being a Christian. So it really, the city, it gets away with lukewarmness really quickly, and you're either in or out.
Mm. So you've got to do some pretty creative stuff to connect with people, to get people's attention. Tell us about one of the big things that we've talked about and participated in, but in the big move.
Yeah. So this is an invitation for you to come to the big move. So September 1st it's a big day in the city because 70% of leases will turn over on this one day. The city really sets itself up for all of these universities. And so knowing when the school year ends and when it starts, that's when leases end and start, that kind of thing. And so because of where we're located, we have thousands of people on this one day moving in and moving out. I mean, you can understand, they find a cheaper apartment. They don't like their roommates. They want to move. They're closer to the university. Everybody's moving. And so what we get to do as a church, but also all of our partners come up for this one day, and we just show up to doorsteps and we ask, can we move you in? And it's a really simple ask. We make sure that we do not accept donations. We want this to be, someone said that grace is shocking to the observer, but tragic to the receiver. Meaning, like, people don't know what to do with something when they receive something, when it's free and it really blesses them, that they have this natural impulse to want to pay it back.
Yeah.
And we do not want to be paid back. We just want to bless them. And I think it really stands out. I mean, it's a physical need of the city every single year, but it's only possible because we have so many partners that come up. And so I think we had 3, including our church this year, we had 350 that came up. Over 300 flew to be part of the day, which is amazing in of itself. And I think there's no doubt we moved in several thousand people, but I think what was really special was that we had 65 new students come to our church the following Sunday, many because they saw a blue shirt, they were personally helped, or they saw a friend being helped and they wanted to come check out the church.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's because I would think my natural first response would be, what's the catch?
Yeah.
Because we just think nobody does. That
And
doesn't
we got
make
to ask
sense.
that. I had the privilege of coming up this year and being a part of it, and so many people were like, "What's the catch?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "No catch."
Yeah.
But
And they're like, "No, for real.
Yeah.
What are you wanting us to do?" And
Yeah.
we're like, "We just want to love on you and
Yeah.
just help you out." And repeatedly, everybody said the same thing. They were like, "Y'all did that in 20 minutes. What would have taken us the entire day?"
Yeah.
And it's so funny because half the people that we got there, we were like, so what would you have done? Had a group not shown up, and they were like, we really hadn't thought about that. We were just,
that happened,
hoping.
Jay, because the moving company for a family canceled. And so this family has no idea what they're going to do. And so they see a group of blue shirts come and they say, can we help you move? And just the ask led them to tears because they didn't have an answer to that question. And it's not just impactful for the students, it's really impactful for the parents.
Yeah.
Because they're there and they're watching this unfold and they're baffled by why people would spend the money to come to Boston and take off work and help move and waste their energy and sweat on something like this. And so it's extremely impactful for our city, and the city's taken notice. It's pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, going from skepticism to curiosity to, I need to see who these people are.
Yeah.
That's such an attractive thing, that representing the kingdom, representing God. To that family, that was a miracle.
Yeah.
That was God showing up in a unexpected way. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, just share one more
please.
story. So we're trying to plant a church in South Boston. Actually, I didn't mention this on Sunday, but there's 30,000 people in South Boston, no gospel church, which is crazy. In Columbus, there's 250 churches for 250,000 people. So one church for every 1,000. Can you
Right.
consider 0 for 30,000? So we actually had a sister come to our church on Sunday, and she came to our newcomers party, and she was in tears because she had been praying for her brother for years. Lives in South Boston. And so we show up on his doorstep, and he calls her sister. And he goes, I have not believed in Jesus, but I know you've been praying for me. You prayed for my move. And I don't know how to reconcile that you said you were praying for this specific need, and here are these missionaries that are here to help me.
Yeah.
And so he's now contemplating coming to church and talking about he doesn't have faith, but he's exploring it with his sister. So his sister just wanted to come on Sunday to say thank you for being there.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that you'd also shared the story, I think, when we were up there this September, that you guys did some surveying in Southie and kind of looking at some things. And we were like, what kind of a church, would you like to see if you come to this area? And several of them were like, well, I don't know what the church is, but it's one of those that's got the blue shirts that walk around and help people. That's the kind of church we would attend here in Southie. And you guys were like, as a matter of fact, we are that church.
Yeah.
Very church.
They had moved from Mission Hill to South Boston. And they're like, well, if there's a church here, we want it to be like this other church that helps move in people.
Yeah. That's cool.
Which is just how God continues to just show you, and lay it out. And you have a pastor now that is stepping into that area and hoping to plant that even further and be in a position here within the next year. And it's just awesome how God has continued to be faithful to you and Chelsea both, and to your children, to your church. And man, I applaud. And I know you would say it has nothing to do with me. I mean, it's all him. But just so many times you get to that point where you're like, oh, God, I don't know if I got one more day in me. And he's like, yeah, you do. Let me show you this. Yeah. And it's like, wow. And when you're on the battlefield, that one blessing, man, it can carry you for months.
It does. It's
you know what I'm saying?
It's
I mean, it's just like there's a fresh, water in the desert, man. And you're just like, God, you are so good. You are so faithful. And that just blesses. And then you see, someone from a different ethnicity, a different religion that begins to explore Christianity and, like you shared Sunday, reads Ecclesiastes, reads John, and goes, yeah, Jesus is who he says he is. And, man, I want to surrender my life to them. And it's just like, it's worth it. It was worth it.
And it's
one at a time.
The power of story. I
mean,
you can say we had 63 new students the next Sunday.
5.
65
don't
5.
Doubt the 2, baby.
Okay.
Jesus knows the 2.
Well, you can say, well, we had 65 that next Sunday, but it's the power is in the story of the one of the two that you shared of this person, that because we connect powerfully with story, and so the stories are what help people see what God is really up to. I think we can get lost in the numbers, but
I mean, I want to be able to say thank you to PCBC because I think it was really encouraging to hear that life groups were talking about church planting. That's obviously that means a lot to me, having planted a church, but also planting another church in South Boston. And what you see in the book of Acts, you see these churches working together to send their best out and to send resources out to get a new work started. And so like the big move is quintessential example of we can do more together than by ourselves. Like these stories are, they're happening because you guys said yes. You guys decided to come to Boston and you're blessing that brother where we're seeing a new work get started. And so you're right. The endurance to keep going, it comes from moments like this. It comes when you come visit. It comes when you send a text or tell a joke, and all of these things further the work. But y'all's church plays a massive role in seeing the gospel go forward in our city.
I love it.
It's those connections that, when you're in the thick of it, in the middle of it, and you feel like I'm this one candle in the darkness, that kind of stuff reminds you we're not alone.
Yeah.
That God is up to something all over the place. And, when we came up a year or so ago, we had not met you yet. But there's that automatic connection of that we're brothers, that we know what God's done in us, and we've seen him do stuff in us and through us, and just the excitement of the opportunity to be a part of what he's about. So
in those 3 days, I felt like we know each other forever.
Yeah.
It just, what about a kindred spirit, and just seeing that. And then, for us to be talking about Boston, and here's what things that we're doing, but then to have you say, hey, I'm going to come down and share my heart with the congregation. I mean, so many of our people were like, hey, you talk about Boston, but now we know about Boston. We know Jonathan. We feel like we're connected with him. Now we want to continue to help support. I was talking to one of our senior adults Sunday afternoon, and she was like, oh my goodness. She goes, the message, and then following that up with church planning in life groups, she goes, I wish I'd have heard this in my 30s.
Wow.
She said it would have radically changed the trajectory of my life had I heard this 40 years ago. And I was like, okay, but you heard it today, right? And I said, so don't think that gets you off the. She goes, no. She goes, I just think I could have done so much more with the last 30 to 40 years had it grabbed my heart the way that it did today. And so John and I have talked. And so our next church plant is going to be people 70, 80, and 90.
Right.
We're gonna plant with them and say, listen, you haven't lost your opportunity yet to see what God can do in and through you. But and that's what we've been praying for. As a church, it's like, over my transition of being here, it's been kind of missions is good. We stroke a check. Yep. Right. And so then it kind of became missions is good. We go a little bit, and now it's to a point where I feel like our church is going, how do I invest and be involved? And man, I don't want to the check is good. And trust me, as church planner, I know you like the check. The check has to come in so that ministry can happen. But it's also, it means as much when 350 people fly up. Or 300 people fly up and they're like, hey, man, we're here to see it. We want to be with you. We want to be praying with you as God's opening doors for, teaching centers and different things and places to meet and worship. And so it's just been neat for me as a pastor to watch that transition happen in the life of our church where it's like, okay, missions is what we give to. Missions is where we go. No. We're on mission every day.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing. John and I've talked about this before. It's you go on a mission trip and it's like, okay, why is it so much easier for me to be on mission when I'm away, when God's given me a mission right here at home? And so how do I step into where I work, where I live, where I play? And become that ambassador for Christ that he's called me to become. And so every little thing just spurs us on. And so, man, your message Sunday, dude, it was powerful. It really was. And I was just sitting there, it's the conviction of going, Jesus, are you worth it to me? I mean, are you worth it? We have so many eyes on us, so many things that are going on. And this woman who just said, I don't care. I don't care the disciples around you. I don't care they're going to judge me. I don't care anything because you're the only thing that matters to me. And I don't, that's not me. I mean, if I'm going to be honest with you, that's not every day of my life that I wake up and go, I'm not going to see anything or anybody else. I just see Jesus. And I'm like, but why not? Because, he is so worth it. And, he's going to provide everything that I need. So, I always told our church, I said, tithing's not an issue because, I mean, I can mess up my life with 100% or I can mess it up with 90. But if I give the first 10 to him and go, God, it's already yours. But then getting to that point to go, well, guess what? This other 90 is yours too. And everything that I have belongs to you. And so when I surrender that to you, you got me. And, he doesn't say I'm going to supply all your wants, but he does say I will supply every need and everything that you are looking for. Man, I got you, and it's like, it's so funny to me. I've said this in the past. I'm like, we trust God for our salvation, but we can't trust him with our stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how silly does that sound that we would say something like that eternity, which is the biggest thing out there. And we go, oh God, you got that, but you can't handle this bill or you can't handle, and I'm like, it's kind of stupid for me to say that, God, you own it all. So take care of me. And so just a beautiful picture of looking at it and going, okay, am I one of the scribes? Am I Judas in this situation? It was so good. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks, Jay.
Well, and we do, part of why we do this podcast is to give usually Jay, but today you, is there something that you were like, I forgot to say this, or I would like to just expound on this a little bit more? Is there something just kind of that in sharing on Sunday that you would add to, or just even remind us of?
Yeah. Well, the erase the line
Mm.
is something that
Yeah.
I have to keep coming back to.
Yeah.
I think there may have been a time earlier on in my walk where I would have said, I'm willing to do whatever, but Jesus hasn't asked me to do anything. And looking back, I think even stepping into some of your leadership meetings this past weekend, thank you for that. Two words that you really mentioned that really stuck out to me: intimacy and community. And I really love those two words. And I think the reason why I was never asked to do something that was scary is because I wasn't intimate with Jesus. I wasn't really abiding in him. And so some might say, well, I've never been asked to cross the line. Well, have you been abiding with Christ? Because if you do, he will ask you to do some scary things. But I think the other thing that I would have said if there had been more time is that we can erase the line, and then we have a really quick tendency to pick up the pencil and to draw it again.
Yeah.
And so I just, for me, it's like, okay, like I don't want to live off moving to Boston as the thing that I did and that be the defining bold faith move. I'm like, oh, there are places where I have drawn lines and I need to ask the Lord to give me the strength and the confidence of faith to continue erasing it, because it's not erasing the line is not a one-time thing.
Right.
It's an everyday thing. That's constantly being surrendered. So I think those would have been the things that I would have added: intimacy with Jesus and understanding that erasing the line is not a one-time thing.
Yeah. And if you didn't get a chance to hear his sermon, of course, you can watch that online. But that idea of erasing the line is that all of us as believers will say, God, I'm going to follow you up into this point. Just don't. And I think your examples, as long as you don't call my kids into missions in another country, and we have these things that are like, it's the limits of our trust and what we can trust God with. And I'm glad you said it. I think part of sanctification, of that wrestling, that messy middle of our faith is recognizing where we've drawn the lines and constantly erasing them, because it isn't a one-time thing. I mean, just like salvation isn't about a prayer at the beginning. It is following. And so that's just that daily dying to ourselves. Yeah.
That's so good, because, you could rest on moving to Boston, just in your scenario. And I think back to my own, of answering a call to go into ministry. It's like, all right, I erased the line. But now it's like, all right, what lines have I now put up, though, that said, okay, well, I did this for you. What more do you want?
Right.
It's so my question is that picture that you put up trademarked? Or can I just erase the Kings Hill and put a PCBC? Because it's so good. I mean, to think about moving out of your comfort zone. Because, I mean, every one of us have this natural tendency to want to live in comfort. Right? I mean, we're in America, and so we need to have our, this amount of money and this kind of a house and 2.5 cars. Unless you're in Boston, y'all walk everywhere. And so, but you look at this comfort zone and go, man, I've gotten so comfortable that, I'm doing good things, but am I living a life that's sacrificial to the point where the fruit, and that was our word this year, which I thought was so cool, thinking about how you get to a fruitful life. And it's that constant being willing to step away from the circle and just kind of going, God, you know what? I don't want the circle. I want the cross.
Amen. Yeah.
And so, it's that whole picture. And I love the fact that you said these magnets are on, refrigerators and everywhere else that we can think of in Boston, that all of our people have this, because that's the kind of reminder that every morning we're going, I'm choosing.
Yeah.
And how do I erase the line today?
Amen.
And man, that was so good. So if you see that popping up around here, I want you to be, I want you to see that as the honor and respect.
Okay.
I mean,
Sounds
that
good.
in.
Sounds good.
Not,
Sounds good.
Not anything. We'll probably change it to our blue color here for Peachtree Corners.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, what a visual to have, and I just really appreciated you sharing that. And I was like, man, that is so good. And then we went into our life group times and talked about, as you mentioned earlier, church planning. And it was neat to kind of see that happen. I had received an email from one of our life group leaders who was going to be teaching, and it was, I'm on different threads. And so he was sending it out to his class, but he was like, guys, this is so good. And, half of this stuff I didn't even realize, and so looking forward to teaching this Sunday. And, we had every group every one of our adult groups that took the time to say, you know what, we're really going to focus on this and be a part of it. And, it's that grassroots effort of going, okay, what are we doing? And to think about us being planted from Dunwoody Baptist Church and 42 years ago now, and then thinking about us planning Christ Fellowship Church, and having a physical plant. And I thought Justin did a great job on that video.
He did.
I did not pay him to say all those kind of things about me, which I didn't even know he'd shot the video. That was a shock to me. Wallace was like, yeah, we did that about a month ago. But several of our members are new. They've been here since 2020. And so they didn't even know that 3 years prior to that, we had planted Christ Fellowship Church. And just seeing some of those things happen, and then getting to be a part of Kings Hill, getting to be a part of these other churches going, hey, man, we want to be about kingdom, and so many times churches can be, we want to build us.
Yeah.
And we want to make this name great, and we want to do X, Y, and Z. And we're like, no. I mean, I say it all the time to our church members. I said, you can know me and go to hell. You can't know Jesus and go to hell, And so it's not about my name. It's not about our anything. It's just about kingdom work. Yeah. And so, we're excited to think about different ways that we can be not only investing and being involved in other things, but just saying, God, what do you want to do? Yeah. As a church, how do we erase the line and get out of what we found to be comfortable and, kind of get in this maintenance mode, which we have a tendency to do from time to time, instead of going, no, we've been called to multiply and reach more people for the gospel. Yeah. And so it was neat to watch that with our life groups on Sunday. It was neat just to kind of see the passion is where I keep coming back to.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you guys always do the same thing in life groups, but it was really neat.
No.
Just well, there was a lot of synergy, I think, when every class is talking about the same thing and they break, and then the flame is still going. Yes. And I thought that was really cool. And if you do talk to this lady again, tell her that I have 2 invitations for her. Okay. One is our church is very young, incredibly young, and they're craving older saints that have walked with Jesus for a long time. And so if anyone is in that age where they're like, I have freedom, I could do whatever and live wherever, we are personally praying for older saints to be part of Kings Hill, to move and be part of our congregation. We don't have any. But the second is, back in 2020, we prayed for 50 people over 5 years to say yes to Boston. That could mean that you graduated from a Boston school and decided to stay, or it could mean that you were a part of a partner church. You came up for a spring break trip or came up for the summer, and then you graduated and moved. And by God's grace, we've seen those 50 people. We call them missional members, and we're trying to pair up those missional members with older members across the country from our partner churches, like adopting a member, so to speak. Yeah. And so if she'd be interested in providing that encouragement and that prayer, it's not a, they have jobs, so it's not financial assistance, right? It's not that. Yeah. It's just they're craving discipleship and people that have gone through so many things that they haven't gone through yet, just miles underneath their belt. And so adoption of a missional member is another invitation. But all that to say, it was encouraging to know that the whole church actually was able to sit in on church planting, where those sort of ideas and things can come out. So it was really special just to be part of yesterday. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and the curriculum drew out a few things I was really happy about. I mean, I led the class that April and I kind of head up, and I love that it made the point that every church is a church plant. Whether it was a church split or it was a church that started or sent. But showing our history, because we have so many new people, that we were a church plant. We have planted churches. We've partnered with church plants, and it's exciting to hear that only 7 years in as a new church plant, you guys are planning another church. And that really needs to be part of the DNA of every church, is that's what we're called to do. And if you look in the New Testament, every church that was written a letter in the book of Revelation was planted by the church at Ephesus. Yeah. And so it's interesting to see. And I think a lot of times people think, well, we got to have a big startup, a big budget. And of course, in the New Testament, it's.
Do you have a home?
Yeah, right. Well, and I was saying, a lot of times when churches need a pastor, we want one with a doctorate. We want, you have to have been to seminary, but you have to have this many years of experience. And then we look where Peter goes to Cornelius' house, stays with him 3 days, and talks to him and his family. They accept Christ, and then from then on, it's referred to as the church in Cornelius' house. He had a 3-day seminary, and it's like, what makes a difference and makes a church is the transformed lives. And certainly we have a call to learn, to be educated, to be able to give a reason for the hope that we have in Christ. But we need to get in that habit and that idea of we need to be planning churches, whatever that might look like. And I think there was excitement around that. Mm-hmm. And then I tried to attach kind of the struggle too, because we're going to go plant churches. And I said, well, think about it as when I talk to you about planning other life groups from your life group, and the pushback that these are my friends. I don't break this up. And so it's like that on a larger scale. Yeah. So there is sacrifice. There is a sense of, I'm doing this not for me or for the people in this. I'm doing it for the people who don't know Christ yet, to give them the opportunity to see what life to the fullness can look like. And I'm also glad they brought in the financial part in the curriculum, because I know that, as a Southern Baptist church plant, that they helped fund a little bit for 5 years?
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, when that stops, you had to figure out, you had to get twice the donorship of outside sources. And so that's a challenge.
Yeah. Well, but college kids have lots of money.
Right.
so your budget has got to be like through the roof with what you're reaching.
No, goodness. I'm doing the premarital counseling with Milky and his fiance. They're up in Southie. Okay. And so they're just talking about they're in dental school and just the bills with that. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah. I don't know how
living up there kills you.
I mean, that'd be a whole other episode.
Yeah, it would.
Is getting into how do these young kids, how are they ever going to even get out of debt? But and I know that's a real struggle that, with your family and that kind of stuff, that it's not, you don't have a little card that says, hey, I'm a church planter. My groceries, are cheaper than everyone else's. My gas is, So it's why we partner with you. It's why we partner with our other organizations. And being on mission is something we all do as a church. And it involves giving, it involves going, it involves praying, and whatever else God may call you to, whether it's in the church, in the community, or around the world. Yeah. So
I loved I loved how you made it personal to the church in terms of the life groups multiplying. And I really think about, and we're in the middle right now of talking to our church about planting a church. Right. And so we're gonna be losing leaders and we're gonna be losing friends. And so a passage that we keep coming back to is Luke 15. It's the only time in Scripture where you see 3 parables that emphasize the same point. You have the lost sheep, the lost coin, the lost son. But I think each have a question that it's worth, and this is what we kind of share with our church. With each thing that's lost, it presses upon a question that we have to ask our own hearts. With the sheep, what am I willing to leave behind to go seek out the one? Oftentimes, when you're planting a new work, I have to be. If I say yes, I gotta leave this community. I gotta leave these friendships. I gotta leave what I know. I gotta leave where I'm comfortable. The lost coin is, to what lengths am I willing to go? Mm-hmm. She searches her whole house until she finds it. And so it's not just a part of my time. My whole schedule is gonna revolve around priority. Yeah, it's priority. Mm. And then with the son, what am I willing to overlook? In Boston, people are lost for all sorts of reasons. Sometimes it's your church. Sometimes it's rebellion. Sometimes it's ignorance. But with the son, there's this flat out, like flagrant, I don't want to be around you. And then the father overlooks all of that when he returns. And so I think those three questions are really pivotal when we think about living a life on mission. What am I willing to leave behind? What lengths am I willing to go? But also, what am I willing to overlook? But mission always is first.
Yeah.
Mission is the thing that drives me, because that's the mission statement of Jesus. I came to seek and save the lost. And so if that's his mission statement, that has to be mine.
Be ours.
So anyway,
That's
it's just as you said that, I'm thinking about how do I communicate to my own church why this is a really good thing that we're going to be losing hopefully 10, 20% of our church to this new work. And it's going to feel raw and rough, but think about the day when they have their first baptism service. It will have all been worth it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and when we talk about starting a new thing, whether it's a life group or a church, our tendency is, okay, yeah, I have a list of people I'm going to put in that other, but it's never, I want to send our best.
Yeah.
It's human nature to say, when I talk to life group leaders and say, hey, listen, if we were to birth new classes, what would that look like? And they sent Paul and Barnabas and
Yeah.
Whenever I'm like, okay, who are your best teachers? Well, they're our best. Well, I don't want your worst. We want to start something off awesome and exciting, not so that, okay, we've gotten rid of the problem people or whatever. So yeah, we want to give our best even when it hurts and it's difficult. So,
Sitting the worst.
Well,
that's great.
Yeah. So we do need to pivot because you've got a time schedule, but quickly, this last week we had QBM Sunday night, which is always, quarterly business meeting growing up.
I enjoyed being a part of that.
Yeah.
It was really neat just to get to see underneath the hood of what's happening in the life of the church.
Yeah, and
You do QBMs at King's Hill?
We have members meetings. Yeah, it ends up being about 5 or 6, but they're actually some of the sweetest times of our church.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, us too, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
It's is it? Are you talking about people or are you talking about meetings? Or?
Yeah,
Okay,
meetings,
yeah.
meetings. No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Same amount listening to this podcast.
Right, yeah.
5 or 6.
No, it's not like a typical business meeting where we're going to vote on this thing, and that somebody's got an agenda. They're going to throw a grenade and have all their aunts and uncles and relatives come and vote. These are celebrations, and we're in a season right now where it's like we can celebrate so much. One of the things every quarter we celebrate our new members, and we had 23 new folks join us this quarter. Mm-hmm. Which is exciting, and we just kind of continue to, in churches past, where it was like, just come forward, and now you're a member, and so we're a little more intentional. We have the Discover class. We have membership interviews where we just, hey, tell us about your faith journey, tell us about, and then if they need to get baptized, that sort of thing, and then we celebrate that, and so we'll celebrate it among the church body on Sunday during the service.
Yep.
But before that, even Saturday, we have a serve day. And in line with our missions month, we are serving some of the local ministries. I know there's like 7 Bridges, which is making bag lunches, delivering those to homeless, praying with them, listening to their stories. We do
Prison Alliance, which is doing the library side of things.
That's right. Donating books or stamping
the books.
Yeah.
And being able to share that with them.
We're doing Fully Furnished.
Okay. Yeah. And so with John over at Fully Furnished, we've really begun to get really invested with that ministry. And they, take your old furniture, refurbish it, and give it to families that are in need.
Yeah.
That are here locally, that are in the community.
So just in a practical sense, if you've got furniture or something that you're getting something new or whatever, and it's still in good condition or can be fixed.
I'll give them my address.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Well, that probably most of the people moving on the big move would be like, I just want to give it away.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to deal with it and haul it up 3 floors. But that is one way that you can help out, is Fully Furnished. That is a resource in our area that you can take advantage of that benefits somebody else. So
just neat opportunities to actually, we've heard from most of these people a couple of weeks ago as we were doing the local ministry day, and we had several of those come in and share with us, and just a way for you to step it up and go, hey, my family, we're going to come and we're going to serve here, and I think you can sign up on the app. You can sign up on our website.
Yeah, just register.
Let us know that you're coming and going to be here with us this Saturday. And then Sunday is our International Sunday, and so we'll be focusing on the world side of things. John Njoroge from Valley Light is going to be with us. John Njoroge is a longtime member. Spoke with Ravi Zacharias Ministries for years, and he and his beautiful bride, Leah, thank you, are moved back to Kenya a few years ago, and you got to go be a part of the team that went there this summer.
Yeah.
And so having John with us is going to be fantastic. He's going to be preaching this coming Sunday, and then we're going to do something special where we're going to have like an international festival. And so several different foods to try from around the globe,
I was thinking, since it's International Day, we should have pancakes.
Yes.
But I think we're doing some different.
We're doing different food.
foods.
I asked for a Taco Bell truck and a Panda Express, and I thought that's international, but the church. Anyway, the missions team voted me down on that. So we're actually going to have some different things from around the globe. But you'll get to go to some of those tables and hear kind of what the ministries are doing. They're going to be through the lobby, the coffee shop, the Next Steps room. And then we're going to have a video that is playing in the worship center. And so you can step in and watch it and then step back out and go to another table, try another food. But just a cool way to.
And that's during the life group hour.
That is during the life group hour.
Yeah.
Yes.
So no life groups this Sunday.
No life groups this Sunday. That'll be doing that instead of the life group hour. And then the following Sunday, we're going to be here with Joe Connor from Elam, because that is National Persecuted Church Sunday. And so we get a double whammy that day in the fact that Joe's going to be here, but then we're also doing another, like we did with church planning, we're doing the Persecuted Church lesson that
in life
has been
groups.
sent out, that Elam's helped provide and put together with us, and Wallace
Nice.
and, has worked on it. And so just, we're blessed in the U.S., and so just hearing what some of our brothers and sisters across the globe are experiencing, what they're going through, and it's not making them back off. It's actually making them step forward.
Yeah.
And so, go back to Acts. Persecution is what spread the church while we're here today, and because they went around the globe and then they didn't shut up about who Jesus was and what he'd done. And so when you have been radically transformed, it's all you can talk about. Yeah. And so really excited to see that. And also the Big Give. Will be on November the 2nd. Our goal is $250,000 this year for missions above and beyond.
And what was last year's goal?
Last year's goal was 160.
That's right. And
so,
what is our current giving towards that goal?
219,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So we exceeded that. So it's a little bit of a stretch to get us from that 219 to 250.
Yeah.
But just continues to provide us with so many opportunities to help bless Kings Hill, to help bless, the local stuff as well as the global stuff.
Yeah.
And so just real excited.
Well,
to be able to
and
be a part of that.
to give a shout out again, Wallace has done
Oh,
a
my goodness.
fantastic job with taking, kind of what was an annual thing, this missions month, and doing just a phenomenal job with it. And so we want to thank him because it has increased awareness, it's increased giving towards missions, and just the practical things that he is setting up, like the Serve Day, which is the second one that we've done in a little bit, and the trips and all that kind of stuff. It's exciting to see in how many ways PCBC is a church on the move, a missional church, and it's exciting. And Jonathan, we want to thank you for being a part of this episode as well.
Absolutely, dude.
You're leaving out today. We're filming on Tuesday. But we also want to thank you for watching this episode. We hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you for all that you do at PCBC. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and God bless.
Well, that's it for this episode of On Second Thought. Thanks for hanging out with us.
If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. If you have a question or thought, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to find out more about your church on the corner, check us out at pcbchurch.org. We'll be back next week with more, so until then, have a great week and God bless.